India has a wealth of wetland ecosystems that support diverse and unique habitats. These wetlands provide numerous ecological goods and services but are under tremendous stress due to rapid urbanization, industrialization, and agricultural intensification. Wetlands are a critical part of our natural environment. They protect our shores from wave action, reduce the impact of floods, absorb pollutants, and improve water quality. They provide habitat for animals and plants, and many contain a wide diversity of life. Wetlands have a poor public image, but are the greatest natural assets for human beings to maintain balanced ecological system. Wetlands are one of the most threatened natural habitats in India. Rapidly expanding human population, changes in land use, development projects, and improper use of watersheds have caused a substantial decline of wetland resources. The falling number of wetlands is posing a major threat to ecological balance in India.
Wetlands or water bodies in India have a peculiar problem which you will see only in the South Asian region but not in other parts of the world. It's of that of encroachment. And another main issue that is threatening these wetlands is also pollution. Pollution of wetlands you can see anywhere in the world, but encroachment is a unique problem that is actually defined only in India and the South Asian countries. Why these wetlands are encroached? This is because the wetlands are actually defined as land, and as a result there is no scope of preservation of these water bodies. So it becomes prey to the different builders and as a result they are easily occupied.
Most problems pertaining to India's wetlands are related to human population. India contains 16% of world's population and constitutes only 2.42% of the Earth's surface, which is putting more pressure on natural resources. The wetlands are shrinking according to the survey conducted by Wildlife Institute of India. Almost 70 to 80% of freshwater marshes and lakes in Gangetic floodplains have been lost during the last 50 years. As a matter of fact, during the last century, 50% of India's wetlands have been lost. Wetlands consist of marshes, swamps, bogs, and similar areas. It helps in filtering out of sediments and nutrients from the surface water and support all life forms through extensive food webs and biodiversity. About 22% of wetlands in India have been lost, primarily through human settlements, 19% due to fishing, and 23% through drainage from agriculture. Removal of vegetation in the catchment leading to soil erosion and siltation contributes to about 16% loss of wetlands. Pollution from the industries contribute to about 20% loss of wetlands. The direct benefits that human beings derive from wetlands include production of fish, timber, and fresh water. The indirect benefits include flood control, recharge of aquifer, and storm protection. Wetlands have the capacity to retain excess floodwater during heavy rainfall. Healthy wetlands are essential in India for sustainable food production and potable water availability for humans and livestock. They are also necessary for the continued existence of India's diverse populations of wildlife and plant species. A large number of endemic species are also wetland dependent. A central wetlands regulatory authority armed with the Wetlands Conservation and Management Rules under the Environment Protection Act of 1986 has been in existence since 2010 to undo the damage. While the 3-year-old authority has been ineffective in even seeking lists of wetlands from the states for notification, the 2-decade-old National Wetland Conservation Program has nothing much to show for the funds it has spent for the protection of 115 wetlands in the protected areas. The plight of unprotected wetlands is much worse. Not a single wetland has been spared. For instance, out of Bangalore's 262 lakes, only 10 hold water now. 65 of Ahmedabad's 137 lakes have already been built up, and most of Delhi's 625 identified water bodies exist on paper only.
1988 के बाद जब फ्लड आया, उसके बाद ये जो मैनर मतलब के बह गया था पानी में, उस मैनर की रिपेयर पर कितना खर्चा आया और जो पंप है उनकी रिपेयर पर कितना खर्चा है। और जो मेरे को जानकारी आई, पहली जानकारी मैंने मांगी थी 4/10 को, उन्होंने जो मेरे को जानकारी भेजी उसके मुताबिक ये था कि 1,16,458 रुपये जो पंप हैं उनकी मरम्मत का खर्चा है, ये देखिए। और जो मैनर की खलाई थी उसका खर्चा 1,63,899 रुपये, ये मैनर का खर्चा। उसके बाद फिर मैंने पूछा कि ये जो मैनर पानी में बह गया था तो उस पर खर्चा कितना है। वो कह रहे हैं कि जो मैनर 1988 के बाद हमने रिपेयर करी उस पर 10,96,988 रुपये खर्चा है, जबकि मौके पर उस मैनर पर जो बह चुका है वो अभी भी उसी तरह है।
Water quality is directly proportional to human population and its various activities. More than 50,000 small and large water bodies are polluted to the point of being considered dead in India. Draining of wetlands has depleted the groundwater recharge. Recent estimate indicates that in rural India, about 6,000 villages are without a source for drinking water due to the rapid depletion of groundwater. Today, most of the wetlands in India are under the control of the government, and the involvement of society in the maintenance of these wetlands is almost minimal. What is required today is that the government ought to become a facilitator instead of a controller and an owner of wetland management. All significant decisions pertaining to the conservation and welfare of any wetland should be initiated and promoted by the end users of the wetland. Unfortunately, just the reverse is happening at present. This rule provides for identification of such wetlands that are socially and culturally important to the local communities. The wetlands should also be identified on the basis of their ecological importance to the local communities. The primary necessity today is to protect the existing wetlands. Of the many wetlands in India, only around 68 wetlands are protected. But there are thousands of other wetlands that are biologically and economically important but have no legal status. There is a necessity for research in the formulation of national strategy to understand the dynamics of these ecosystems. This could be useful for the planners to formulate strategies for the mitigation of pollution. The scientific knowledge will help the planners in understanding the economic values and benefits, which in turn will help in setting priorities and focusing the planning process.